The Day of Rage that was supposed to happen on July 15th was a hoax. It did not happen. I am not surprised by this. They're pushing race relations to the limit right now. They're exacerbating a near meltdown situation. They're using every available tool at their disposal, including hoaxing, to accomplish their real agenda, and that's the collapse of the West. There was no day of rage in the United States on July 15th. It was deliberate misinformation taken from a similar event that was organized in 2014, when the group Anonymous published a nearly identical list of cities that would be targeted with a Day of Rage. Why did they republish this list without organizing a single protest in the US? Did they even mean to carry it out? Or could this phrase be a code for something else? As we know, something did happen on the Day of Rage, an event that is very important. A coup was attempted in Turkey, the crossroad of East and West, where Islam meets Orthodox Christianity. What was the purpose of this so-called Day of Rage proclamation made by Anonymous and endorsed by Black Lives Matter? Let us remember that the Day of Rage is a Muslim phrase used to describe an uprising against the West and against the modern state of Israel. According to Islam, there will be an uprising at the time of the end, and many people will die. This is a part of paving the way for the coming of the Mahdi. Days of rage will become common manifestations as the Mahdi approaches. The Mahdi is a mysterious character, although there are different opinions about him. Some in Islam believe he will come from the West. A sun really will rise out of the West at this time. A man who will rule over the black banners that come from the East. A man who will ascend to rule the world. But a ritual purification will take place before he does this, in which approximately 2/3 of the world population will die. In her book, Sacred Rage, author Robin Wright documents that the modern rage movement in Islam was created just after Arab countries lost significant land masses to Israel in the Six-Day War of 1967. The time period following this resulted in the beginning of what Robin Wright calls organized sacred rage, a time period for the rise of militant Islam throughout the world. Wright's stunning work uncovers this time period as what appears to be a change in Islam. Mass murdering of Eastern Christians would begin, as would the beginning of attacks on Western society. Suicide bombings, smuggled weapons, jihad, militarizing children, all of these became hallmarks of the sacred rage movement in Islam. And there is a reason behind why Islam is carrying out its rage movement right now, and that is to prepare for the appearance of the Mahdi. The time period just after the Six-Day War truly did mark a stunning shift in the mentality of Islam. Not long after the loss of their land, there were 57 states that organized quickly into what was called the Islamic Cooperation.
Because, it is just wonderful to be back in Oregon, and over the last 15 months we've traveled to every corner of the United States. I've now been in 57 states, I think one left to go.
The Islamic community in the Middle East also began to organize a series of terrorist attacks on Western countries that have continued into the modern day. While Islam has focused its rage attacks against the Israeli state starting back in 1967, they were also organizing inside of the United States. They did not do this quietly. One of the first days of rage was organized by Barack Obama's best friend and mentor William Ayers in 1969. When a 3-day period of anarchy was brought upon the city of Chicago. It was not accidental that William Ayres chose to use a Muslim phrase for his Chicago uprising. Ayres named it the Day of Rage because it coincided with a movement taking place in the newly formed Arab Confederation. A new Muslim empire was born, and they're waiting for the appearance of their Mahdi. That is the origin of the Day of Rage. It has nothing to do with Black Lives Mattering. It is rather a Muslim phrase meant to usher in the Mahdi. And he is here now, waiting for the time of his full unveiling. So why would a Day of Rage be declared on July 15th when nothing happened inside of the US? Could this be a coded phrase for a larger agenda, starting with Turkey? Are we seeing the beginning of the toppling of Western powers? Turkey is the crossroads of East and West, where Christian meets Islam. A country who has moved against Western influence in recent day. A country that the Lord Jesus spoke directly to in the last biblical book. Jesus spoke of persecution, of suffering, and of the end to the 7 churches of the Revelation. The West will be destroyed at the time of the end. According to Albert Pike, Islam will be the tool of choice for the Illuminati to use. It seems the original agenda of the Days of Rage, which started 49 years ago, will be accomplished. The Mahdi, who is Lucifer in the flesh, is here. Those who are born again in Jesus should not fear what is coming, but should stand firm until the end.